There are 2.1 million unplugged oil and gas wells across the US. And the reason for that is because the fossil fuel company owns the oil well, makes all the profit, but towards the end of its life, sells that oil well on to a shell company. And at the point when the oil well needs to be plugged, made safe, the area around it remediated, that shell company goes bust, right? And so essentially, big oil are evading what are called their asset retirement obligations through very complex bankruptcy and fraud. And so, we are bringing a case which is designed on behalf of Colorado landowners who often are faced with the impacts and the costs of this pollution. And our case is really designed to shift that accountability. So really making a reality of the polluter pays principle, saying actually it's not okay to put private profit at the expense of public good. And your business model will be very, very different if you actually have to account for the damage that you're doing environmentally, for asset retirement obligations, all these things. And that will actually shift how the economics of it work, and that will help accelerate the transition. And also presumably easier
to win over public sympathy for a case like that. Absolutely. If you're dealing with local pollution, even if it's if you like a sort of Trojan horse for a wider atmospheric pollution issue, it's actually the local impact. It's very
local. And so, what happens is when big oil evades its asset retirement obligations, that lands on the local authorities, on the taxpayer, on the local landowners. And we're talking about massive methane leaks. We're talking about, poisoning of the local land, kids getting ill. It's a very, very real issue. And, and actually it sort of points also to a really interesting point about the leverage of successful climate litigation. So the costs to the US of these unplugged oil and gas wells is estimated to be 1.5 billion in terms of the climate impacts, the health impacts, the pollution, the cost of cleaning it up. And if we succeed in shifting the accountability for just 10% of those oil and gas wells, then that's $150 million saved, right? And our case costs $1.5 million. So it's a bit of, there's a bit of maths there, but the point is, if you can shift through corporate law, shift some of these corporate practices that are totally, unjust, then you're really getting to a point where the playing field is more level between the, fossil fuels of the past and the energy of the future.